wealth and resources to Yoruba people. Lagos cannot be the fourth largest economy in Africa, and the Yoruba man is not seen like how we see the Arabs. It is because these huge, humongous resources is not actually being championed for the betterment of the Yoruba people. It is used for the welfare of Nigeria and the rest of all the other tribes in Nigeria. Come to Lagos. There are no privileges you give to the Yorubas. I live in Lagos. There is nothing I enjoy that the Yoruba have some level of privileges. Now, let me shock you. In my zone, we don't hide it. We tell the oil companies that all your employment has to be from the Niger Delta. If you have to give them, this is the quota you must give. If you don't want, don't operate. We told Dangote. And Dangote said, can't operate that way. They get out from our land. That's what we said to Dangote. That is why a lot of companies that come, we just tell them, every month, this is what you pay to this community. Every month, this is what you pay. There are communities in the Niger Deltas that have 24 hours light. It's not provided by Nigerian government. It is provided by these oil companies. We don't need to go and discuss with federal government. No. We don't have time to be discussing with federal government. We discuss with you that have come to use our resources. Here is our conditions. If you are not willing to play according to our conditions, we are not even interested in you going to court. No, even with your court, with your federal might and everything, that company will not run. If we say this is what we want. A lot of our children in the Niger Deltas, we go to Benedict universities today, you see a lot of them on scholarship. They pay millions in school fees, but they don't know where that money is coming from. It is because leadership have told this oil company, we must leave without working. That is why sometimes you look at the Niger Delta, we seem lazy. But again, how we live our life, it is how we're choosing to do it. And that is what I am not saying in the Yoruba land. That if Cliff can come into Yoruba and have so much ease, without any constraint, I'm not scared, I'm not being interfered, I'm not being subjected to some form of strain, so that I look back to my land and say, oh, sweet home. That's the reason the Igbos do not say there is no place like home. When you are in the UK, can you feel the pressure that is coming from the UK? You begin to remember Nigeria and say, oh, Nigeria, if not a bad government, we should be enjoying Nigeria. You begin to look at certain things and say, oh, if not that I'm in a strange land, things like this is not done in Nigeria. That is the truth. The Yoruba man, I want to see the Yoruba man and begin to envy him. That, wow, these are people that have really excelled in this country, because truly your land have excelled. Yesterday, I have a conversation with somebody that came here and said, is it on our base platform or Dangerous? One of these platforms, one of our platforms. The Igbo guy came, he said he lives in Canada. No, he said he lives in New York. He said the Igbos contribute the most after the Niger Delta to Nigeria. And what do they get from that? A lot of people wanted to argue with him. I said, no, calm down. Can we look at the facts? He said, yes. He said he has his laptop with him. I said, okay, no wala. Can you type on Google, list of states by VAT contribution to Nigeria? He Googled it because he didn't know he was walking into a trap. By the time he Googled it, he saw Lagos. I said, oh, remove Lagos, remove Lagos. We know that Lagos is former federal capital. That is why it's on number one. I said, okay, fine, remove Lagos. He removed Lagos. And I said, can you start looking at the list? By the time he looked at the first 10, there is no eastern states in the first 10. He was shocked. The first appearance on that list that came from the eastern state was in number 13, which was Anambra State, number 13. He looked at it again. He said, hold on, let me re-Google it. He re-Googled, got another. The same list. He saw it on number 13. He thought I have stopped. I said, no, go through the list. He went through the list. And Ebonyi State was number 35 on that list, second to last. And he was dazzled. And I said, calm down, oh, still hold on to that list. You said we should remove Lagos. I said, fine. Now, take Oyo State. What was the total that you saw on Oyo State? He said he saw about 74 billion naira. I said, fine, hold that 74 billion. Keep it on one side. Go to Anambra State. What do you see in Anambra? He said 10 billion. I said, oh, do that calculation. What do you see in Enugu? It saw 7 billion. I said that's 17 billion. What do you see in Imo State? It said 4 point something billion. By the time he added up all the contributions coming from the Southeast, he arrived at 27 billion naira. And when he compared it with what came from Oyo State, it was almost 3 times the size of the revenue that comes from Oyo State. So Oyo State almost produced 3 times the revenue of the whole of the Southeast. But here is my grounds. Are the people, are the Yorubas living in Oyo State, are they being fed this huge, humongous resources that is coming? No, the answer is no. The reason is the Oyo State government is so sane that it wants to now make that the whole of those infrastructure that money can produce for the rest of Nigeria. It want to build facilities that the whole of the rest of Nigeria can enjoy. And that is the crisis problem the Yorubas are facing today. If you look at your progenitors and you look at the leaders of your leaders past, you will notice that they had a Yoruba First initiative. When the rest of the nation were pursuing just money like the Igbos, Awolowo was pursuing education. And it was a Yoruba First initiative. Today, it has pitched Yoruba and it has put Yoruba at the forefront of Nigerian development. So why are the young generations and the leaders of today not having a Yoruba consciousness where all Yorubas should be privileged Nigerians? It's not too difficult to ask. How many Yorubas work in Dangote? Ask yourself, look at the data that were coming from Dangote refineries. You notice that even Yorubas may not be up to 10% of that workforce because you guys are too educated. Education should not deny you your birthright. There is a reason why you were born in this land. And it comes with a lot of privileges. Yes, you may look at the Nigeria data and say they are very violent. We have to, because Nigeria as it is, the only way you can get what you want is for you to dictate to the state what you want. When we needed our resources to be a bit controlled by us, we started bombing these pipelines. Yes, we discovered what is the best approach to get government to the round table. We started forming organizations, from all of that, and the government came to the round table. What did we get? We got a 13% derivative. 30% of all of the revenue in Nigeria now comes to our zone. We had a 1% community contribution from the federal government that comes to our zone. And we have the NDDC that was also established to ensure that while our state government is building infrastructure, federal government is building infrastructure, there is a third organization that is also building infrastructure for us. You may say this money are being stolen and all of that, but again, this money is coming to the Niger Deltas. So what are the Yorubas doing with all of this fantastic revenue that is coming to Yoruba land? Why will Cliff come to Yoruba land and my children enjoy exactly the same privileges that I'm enjoying, that Yorubas are also enjoying? What then is the advantage of having an advanced culture that everybody is running to? If everybody is running to you to enjoy all of these, the question is, why are the Yorubas not enjoying? That is the reason you come to Lekki today. You see a lot of Igbos because the policies have not really helped to raise to a larger extent the middle class in Yoruba land. The Yorubas are educated. If you really needed to employ, I think the best people to actually employ in this country is Yorubas. That is why when Yorubas are in government, we have better administration of this country. And I'm going to round up with this. The Yorubas need to not only round on Facebook, Twitter, and all that, or constantly talk about Igbo and all that. No, they need to write an agenda, because a person like Sanwo-Olu is not wise enough to understand what we're saying. The only man that a bit understand what needs to be done is Tinubu. He don't give a fuck. He don't give a damn. They not compare the kind of money Tinubu have invested in Lagos, and they said it's almost 1/3 of the national budget. But Tinubu do not care. He wanted the Lagos Calabar Coastal. It started from Lagos. He wanted anything. He moved central bank to Lagos. He doesn't give it. He doesn't care. He's doing all he's doing today. You think when Tinubu deregulated electricity and made it possible for states to generate their own power, you thought he was doing it just because of Nigeria? Because he knew that the people that have the capacity to actually produce 24 hours electricity in this country are the Yorubas first. Others will copy. Or you think when he talks about state policing, he's just talking about the North? The North will still use Boko Haram to police themselves. The North will still use bandits to police themselves. He's aware of it. But again, he's doing this because he wanted to protect this Yoruba ethnic group. He knows that by the time you form state police, if he's no longer there, there will be enough harms within, there will be enough manpower and enough harm to protect the territorial integrity of the Yoruba people. Let me stop here. Thank you very much.
Mr. Clifford,